And we're back for another video. So I was just going through like the stats on my other videos, and I noticed that I have a toolbox tour video. If you want to check that out, I'll link it right up here. Toolbox, it's a mess, usually a mess up here. That video was doing pretty good, and it started making me think, like, if you don't have all these tools and you wanted to like work on your car, what's some of the things you should have? Alright, so let's get all the other stuff out of the way. If you're new to the channel, this is my 240SX right here. It has an RB25 engine swap in it. I did a full motor build on it myself. Link to the playlist right here also. It was dyno tuned. This thing makes 535 horsepower. There will be more videos on it if you obviously didn't check out all the other ones yet. But if you feel like subscribe. Like I just said, there will be more. So if that sounds like something that interests you, be sure to subscribe. Hit the subscribe thing, and then I think something with the bell. People usually say something with the bell, so click that too, I guess. Leaning on the toolbox. So when I first kind of got into, not really like into, but like when I first started working on my cars, I was still living closer to my parents' house, and my dad had a bunch of tools. So it was very easy for me to just go to my parents' house, use all his tools, and then I have no issues with doing whatever I wanted to do with the car. Then eventually I decided, hey, let me buy some of my own tools so I could do some of my own work and I don't have to go to my parents' house to do it. So I just started buying some tools here and there. I figured I would put together like a little list for you guys, if anyone's like starting to work on my car, to do general stuff to your car. I'm not talking about doing like an engine build, but install coilovers, changing exhausts, stuff like that. My old car, not really old, but my other car was a 2015 Subaru WRX, and on that car, I basically did full bolt-ons. Intercooler, the J-pipe, which is basically like a downpipe, but it's a J-pipe, full exhaust, TGV deletes, EGR delete, air intake, all that stuff was basically done with all very basic tools. So let me get together some stuff and let me put all the things in one spot and we'll go over it quick. I'm gonna go over like a couple pieces, probably about 5, maybe 4 or 5 tools that you're gonna kind of want, I guess, to work on your car. And let me start off by saying this isn't for like a professional mechanic. This is for someone just beginning to get into working on the cars, doing basic stuff. Like I said, no like engine building or like really heavy stuff, but you'll be able to get by doing like coilovers and stuff like that. So this is the first thing. I don't remember how many pieces this is, but let's look at this. This is a multi-piece set. Like I said, I don't remember how many pieces this is, but it's a lot of pieces. I feel like something like this kit, you're getting quantity over quality. This thing hasn't let me down though, so it is decent quality, I guess. If you're gonna get a multi-piece set, spend I guess a little extra money on it, and then when you start buying more and more tools, like if you buy like a new socket set or new ratchet or whatever, you could always keep this set in the car if you ever have an issue on the side of the road. But as you see with this, you have your screwdrivers, adjustable wrench, needle nose pliers. You got all your little bits. Phillips head, flathead, Torx, all that stuff. You have a wide array of sockets. Don't need this really, but leave that there. Wide array of sockets, spark plug sockets. You have 3/8 stuff, 1/2 inch stuff, 1/4 inch stuff. The only thing lacking with this specific set is really these wrenches. It kind of like skips a couple sizes and only goes up to 15, and sometimes you need a 17. Or even a 19, but 19 is getting a little crazy here. But you do have those in socket form. And you have like your channel locks, ratchets, Allen keys. I can't recommend this set enough. Personally, like I said, if you're just like getting into like the car stuff, because this got me by a lot. That's, I guess, the first one. Something like this. For me personally, like I was just kind of saying, I keep that one in the trunk of my car, of the 240, because if anything breaks, I have basically I have a bunch of the tools I know I'm going to need to fix it. This isn't really in any particular order, but the next tool that will help you out a lot is a breaker bar. So a breaker bar, very simple. They come in different sizes. Hold on. They come in different sizes, long, medium, short. This is the tool you're going to want. It helps out tremendously when you're trying to take your lug nuts off. And then also getting back to like coilover install, sometimes your bolts that hold the bottom of the coil or strut, stock strut, whatever, onto the like the control arm or whatever. Sometimes those are super tight and you need something with a little bit more leverage. Breaker bar comes in handy because sometimes you'll use your ratchet and you can break the ratchet. So the breaker bar gives you that leverage you need. You're not gonna get you'll break the bolt completely before you break this. The third tool that's gonna help you out a lot is a hammer. So we'll talk about this a little bit. Most people, myself including, will just use whatever is close. Pair of pliers, ratchet, any metal tool. You could use that as a hammer. I have done it myself, like I said. The hammer comes in very handy when you're doing stuff like, once again, changing coilovers. This should just be like tools you need to change coilovers. But sometimes those bolts don't want to come out of the arms. Actually, anything, basically suspension work, because that stuff is usually very tight. So you have like the bolts that hold in your lower control arms, the upper control arms, camber arms, toe arms. I could show you a bunch of the arms here. You got a bunch of arms. You got your coilover, toe arm, all this stuff. Sometimes it's hard to see, but sometimes like that, these bolts don't really want to come out after you crack them loose. So you might have to persuade it a little bit with the hammer. So that's where the hammer comes in handy. You could also just bang stuff with it, I guess, if you really want. Sometimes your rotors don't want to come off, so you give it a little tap with the hammer. They come in very handy. Use the right tool for the job. The fourth thing that's going to help you out when you start doing some car work, I would say, is a pair of vice grip. A pair of locking, I guess these are technically locking pliers. A pair of locking pliers will help. You could always pinch off coolant hoses with it, grab stuff, grab the other end of a bolt, a rounded out bolt. A lot of people don't have brake line tools, myself including, and sometimes the ends of the brake line likes to strip. So this you could clamp on super tight, crack it loose. Helps out greatly there. Sometimes if you snap like a stud, or if you snap a bolt off and you just have the little stud sticking out, you could grab it with the vice grip. Vice grip come in handy, lifesavers. Get yourself a pair. If it's something really large, it's probably going to be really tight, and the vice grip probably won't help you out too much. Now the fifth and final thing I want to put on the list, because I don't want to put too much stuff, it's kind of like a wild card, depending what type of work you're going to be doing, because that multi-piece tool set I showed you before, to me, the adjustable wrench in it wasn't large enough. So you could get a large adjustable wrench, especially because sometimes you might need two 17 millimeters and there's only one 17 millimeter socket and no 17 millimeter wrench. So you need something large for, you just need a larger wrench. So you could use the adjustable just to make your life easier instead of having to buy individual wrenches or a whole new wrench set just to get that 17. But I'm gonna have to say the fifth thing you want is like a pair of cutters. Let me get cutters also. There's a pair of cutters or wire strippers. These wire strippers actually double as a cutter because there's a cutter at the top here at the end. Cut stuff. Especially zip ties. A lot of people, like if you want to run like new fog lights, you want to put a light bar on your truck or whatever, you're going to be using a lot of zip ties. So you want something to cut that with. A lot of times it comes with a connector on it, but if you're doing custom wiring work, you need something to strip your wires. So you have the different sizes. You strip the wire, you crimp it, and you can cut it. A wire crimper cutter thing like this, another lifesaver. All those things you could still get by without a crimper cutter thing like that. That tool set, you could actually skip the cutter, because that tool set at the beginning I showed, if you get something along the lines of that, it does have a cutter. It is a needle nose plier, and it has, this is not out of the tool set, but it's a needle nose plier like this, and it has a cutter down here, right down there. But sometimes the zip tie is too hard to get to stick the whole thing, the whole tool through it just to crimp it. So you want something with a cutter at the end, and it works. It helps you out a lot. I would suggest getting something with the cutting mechanism at the end of it. It's makes your life easier. So these are just those are just like 5 tools that I think make life easier. If you're going to be doing like a lot of heavy work, I would maybe suggest getting like a better ratchet socket set. This whole list is kind of like a cop-out because I'm saying it's 5 tools, but that tool set is a lifesaver. Like I've said, I have done plenty of work on my Subaru with that. I could actually link a video right here of going back to stock. That was all done with that tool set. This was just 5 tools that helped me start working on the cars and get by with what I need. And then eventually I started buying more and more stuff. And that's where we end up with this toolbox that you guys are sitting on right now overlooking the car. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you think there should be more tools on the list, like should I extend this list for up to 10 tools, I could do another 5 tools that you want to start working on your car, but not everyone has a ton of space to put this stuff, so I was trying to keep it compact. If you got any suggestions, add them down there. If you have a tool that you think works better than the ones that I listed, let me know. Subscribe for more content. It's winter time right now, so it's kind of tough to take the 240 out, but subscribe for more content. We got more videos coming up with the 240, and I will see you guys very soon. I think that's it. I don't know what else to say. So, this battery's gonna die.